Dave, it's been a while, I suppose. You've had the weekend off. How's that been for the training and the lads who are just coming in? And has that given you more time for them lads to fit in and get a feel around the squad as well?
Yeah, it's been good. Like I say, we gave the players a little bit of downtime over last weekend. They went out and socialised in the small groups like they can, with some of the new lads going along with them. So that obviously helps because before you come back into training. And then this week's been a real focus on what's happening at the weekend for us. So a little bit of tactical stuff. Tuesday, a little bit more today, but putting things in place to hopefully go and try and win two big games in what is a really important weekend for us.
Also, didn't have that game on Tuesday night. What was that like? Just sitting back and kind of watching all the other results, and now we can kind of look at the league table, and them teams have kind of got their games in hand. How do you feel about the league table as it stands now?
Listen, I suppose when you cast your mind back 3 or 4 weeks, we were looking at it thinking, I think Sutton had maybe 5 games in hand on us. And at the time, probably Notts County could have got above us with their games in hand. All of a sudden now, when things pan out, Sutton maybe, I think 5 points ahead of us if they win the game, which for us realistically is one game because we play them. So if there's a swing one way, in a game between now and the 22nd, when we play them, all of us, and we're within one game. I suppose the anomaly alongside that is that all of a sudden now Torquay are right on everyone's tails and Stockport are right in it. So there's probably 4 teams that would all think they're in with a shot of winning the title. There's probably 4 teams that all want to make sure they finish either 1, 2, or 3. And at the moment, someone's going to miss out on that. But then below that, there's probably 4 or 5 teams that are still thinking that if they put a run together, they can sort of get themselves into them top 3 places, or if not, make sure they give themselves the best shot at a playoff place. So there's still 10 teams, 11 teams with an awful lot to play for. And I'm sure over the course of the next 5 weeks that we've got left, or 4 and a bit weeks that we've got left, that there are twists and turns, and hopefully the twists and turns from our perspective are positive ones, and we end up in a good spot on the 29th of May, and we move forward from there.
Just talking about the 29th of May now, have that home game against Weymouth. Plans haven't really been confirmed yet, but it's likely fans will be there. How much will a lift will that be? And do you expect it really to be nervy, that last game of the season, and still everything to play for?
I hope we've got everything to play for, and I hope it's nervy. I think you'd absolutely take that now, with what's in front of us for the next month, and if I suppose the situation come the 29th of May was still open, then it would be really, really good. But again, that's looking a little bit far ahead. This weekend for us is massive against 2 teams that are in or looking to secure playoff positions, and we've got to make sure we're at it. The games will take care of themselves as you move forward. We've got games coming up, like I say, against teams that have come into form. So either you look at Maidenhead, you look at Aldershot, you look at Sutton, all the games we're playing against our teams that are in form. The important thing alongside that is that we're in form ourselves, so that must continue, or make sure we do everything we can to make that continue. And like I say, hopefully further down the line, give ourselves a good shot.
We'll have a little chat about Chesterfield this weekend, but just kind of going back a little bit, this time last week, deadline day in the National League, and 3 new lads came in. I know you always spoke about strengthening the squad. People probably didn't expect 3 coming in. Just have a little talk through them 3 lads: Brad James, Francis Ngolo, and Harvey Saunders also coming through. Do you really feel they were needed to strengthen the squad as we come into this last run in?
In my opinion, yes. Again, what you have to do, we've put ourselves in a great position. You've got to cover eventualities. What we don't want to be in a situation is 36 games of the season, in a great spot, 40 games of the season, all of a sudden an injury, a suspension, not able to field someone who you can trust in terms of being experienced at playing in a certain role, not able to play at a shape that you think can win the game for you, and B, I suppose decisions made by things outside of your control. It would have been, let's say, daft to do that. What we've done is we've covered bases. Harvey, as I've said, has been one that has been in the pipeline for quite a while. We tried to do it previously with no success, but it's one that we've kept in contact with and kept on the back of, and that was the reason really that we did Richie in the first place, not being able to get Harvey over the line. So we knew that the Richie one was going to be short term and probably bought us a little bit of time, that hopefully the situation changed with Fleetwood and we could get Harvey in, and that's been the case. So delighted to get him. As you said, with Zane, he's played in some big games for me, knows how we go about things, know what our expectations are, has got good experience, and will cover different positions for us. And the goalkeeper one is a tough one, because you could always, I suppose it's the one position where you can potentially do an emergency loan. So we could have not brought anybody in, and if we had a problem with the two keepers we've got, then react from that. But what we'd have had then would have been a keeper who didn't know the players, didn't know what we were about, coming into an environment where you're going into what is or could be a season-defining game. It's not a good situation to go in from our perspective, although it can work. What we've done is got people in and given them hopefully some weeks or a couple of weeks to see what we're about, to become acclimatized to the environment, and if they're required, they go in there comfortable in the knowledge that they know what's expected and know that they can go and do a good job for us.
Do you expect them to feature this weekend, a really quick turnaround after Saturday? Obviously, the late kick-off on Saturday, travelling on Sunday, Monday, another game on the bank holiday. Are you expecting the squad to really rotate over them two games? Probably maybe some of it not by choice, depending on if people pick up any little niggles or injuries.
Yeah, it's probably the one weekend with the, like I say, the late game, and then travelling down, where as much as you want to keep as much continuity as you can, we'll go into the Bromley game with them not having had a game on the Saturday. They'll come into this game on the back of, obviously, got beat on Tuesday night against Chesterfield. So they've had a virtually a week run into this game, where we'll have a 36-hour run into it. So as much as if you're winning games, you want to try and keep things seamless and as same as possible. Probably is the one occasion where we almost are preempting that we may need to make some changes. As you say, some will maybe take it out of our hands. Hopefully they're not. And we can go into that game. Everybody comes through the game on Saturday unscathed, another win under our belt, and all wanting to play on the Monday. And then it comes down to our decision as a sort of management group as to what's the best way to go to Bromley and get a positive result. And that's what we're trying to do.
This Saturday, then, Chesterfield at the Vic, live on BT Sport. As you said, they're fighting for a playoff place. They've had a great run in since their new gaffers come in. A completely different side to what we faced on that second weekend of the opener of the season. What are you expecting from this new outlook of a Chesterfield side?
No, we expect a tough game. I went to the game against Wrexham on Saturday, and I watched the game against Bromley on Tuesday. So, like I said, they're a completely different team who have had a really good run to get themselves into the shake-up of, again, had a few results that maybe people didn't see coming of late. Obviously got back to winning ways on Tuesday. So we expect a tough game, but they expect that's a tougher game, I'd imagine, because we're in good shape. So, like I say, two teams that will certainly try and play. I expect the game to be pretty open at times, but we've got to do everything we can to get a win, to continue the run we've had going at the Vic. Obviously in front of the TV cameras, which is always great. But primary objective is getting 3 points, keeping the run going, and keeping the pressure on teams in and around us.
Have you had a conversation this week with Danny Rowe, your old teammate?
No, I haven't. No, not of yet. obviously, listen, I'll see Rowie at the game on Saturday. We worked together for a long time. Great lad. A real threat, which goes without saying. Can be anonymous in games and then win a game at the touch of a button. So if he's anywhere within 40 yards of our goal, then you have to make sure you're switched on and make sure you're alive. But again, it was great for me. An unbelievable goal scoring record at this level, and will undoubtedly be an asset for Chesterfield.
I suppose you don't mind him scoring if it's 5-1 to us and he gets the one, do you?
So you have to be switched. You have to be switched on. You've got to spend as much time keeping him as far away from our goal as possible. And if he's having to chase back and do defensive duties, then we're doing okay in the game, and that's what hopefully will be the case. But again, I've spoken to him over, like I say, over time that I've been away from File and he's been away. He sort of dipped his toe into getting his opportunity in League Two with a couple of clubs, and for whatever reason, I'll find out more at the game on Saturday. He's obviously made the decision to go to Chesterfield, but I'm sure one that, like I say, he won't regret, and like I say, it'll be a big part in what they do moving forward.
Another feature of this weekend is the social media blackout continuing all the way through the Premier League, Championship League 1, League 2 and the National League. Obviously, fans aren't going to get the same coverage that they'd usually get. Obviously, a lot of fans follow on social media the game, and it's just not obviously going to happen this weekend, as everyone kind of stands against this online hatred and abuse. You know, is this something that you can see that it needs to happen to almost affect the way we currently live with this in this huge social media world?
Yeah, listen, social media is not something that I get hugely involved in personally, but there are obviously issues. I suppose, listen, within this, the majority of supporters, if you like, suffer for what are the minority in terms of ridiculous views, comments, posts that people put on behind the facade, hidden away, sat in front of a computer with no responsibility or ownership. And I think that, again, this is something that the social media companies need to look at in terms of them taking the lead and making things more transparent rather than people having the ability to post, write what they want to insult people with little or no consequence, because they can't be tracked and traced. And if this needs to happen in order to make that happen, the world will be a better place for it. And maybe all of a sudden then these multi-billion-pound companies will take more responsibility for something that they're the ones that could have a direct impact on.
Just finally, just a bit of team news heading into this weekend. Chesterfield and Bromley, obviously we know Ben Kellogg, Joe Gray are obviously out for the season. How is the likes of Ryan Johnson and everyone else in the squad looking?
Yeah, everyone's fine. Jono hasn't joined in. He'll do a little bit today. He's been out on the grass, so hopefully he'll join back in the squad with us today. And we get no reaction. Get some work into him over the weekend and into next week, and he, fingers crossed, becomes available to us the following week. We won't rush him. Like I say, it's important that what we want to try and do over the next 4 weeks of the season and make sure we have everybody to pick from, to pick a squad, pick a team to go and win a game and not put anybody at risk. He'll obviously want to be involved in big games at the back end of the season. Hopefully we can get to that point, and it gives us as a management team the best opportunity to pick the players we want to go and win games for us.